Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, Damien?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
You found your way here?
Yes, and so happy you can have the chance. I can have the chance to learn something.
That's no problem at all. I'll bring you in here. We can have a seat. This is the messy office. This is the nice part of the office. So we did building work here over the last year, so this is all new. So that we have this kind of library resource space.
A little library.
I can sort of show you around a bit, but maybe we'll sit down and have a chat first. Would you like some water or tea, coffee or anything?
I mean, water?
Water? Yeah, I'll get you a glass here.
All the book is the published book.
This section, yes, they're all ours, and then these ones are ones we've bought from around the world. Most of these ones are ours as well. And then in this section, these are more books we've bought from around the world, some other kind of portals, and a lot of this is kind of reports and documentation of projects in Ireland, going back for quite a few years. So some of them are kind of more policy, strategies, things like that, but then, different projects, and they're sort of organised in different categories. We do that arts and health section. We don't have a particular section on arts and older people at the moment, but it's something
Just all kind of project.
Yeah. So as I said, it's all brand new. We've only just started. You can see we still have a lot of boxes to empty, to organise, but hopefully soon we will have more of a catalogue sort of system.
Okay, so just like the new place where the company is original, located there.
We've been in this building for 10, 11 years.
Oh, long.
Before that we were in a different area in Dublin. But we got a grant from government quite a long time ago with this idea that we would build a library. So it took a long time, and then we were nearly ready to start this work here, and then the pandemic came and it stopped, and so it started this time last year. We emptied out this room and the room next door, and then the building work sort of happened over the last year. So it's brand new. We had a launch event 2 weeks ago, so we had some friends and visitors here, and we had a bit of a party to let people know that it's here. So now we want lots of artists to come in and use these spaces and be able to access all the kind of material that we've gathered. We've been going as an organisation for 42 years.
42.
Yeah. Wow. So, quite a long time in comparison, maybe to a lot of other organisations in Ireland. I guess the art sector in Ireland was not very well funded or professionalised for a long time.
Oh, you mean that the funding or the budget is?
Yeah, like we have an arts council. So you'd be familiar with that sort of model, I presume. So the Arts Council have been around for 75 years, maybe, something like that, a little more. And they would have been quite small at the beginning, and they originally would have just had a couple of people working there, and they just gave grants to writers and painters. And that was it, basically. And it slowly grew over many years to then start to think about other art forms. And so we always talk about art form and art practice, you understand? So
art form
being like theatre, painting, music, but art practice is like what we call collaborative arts, community arts, arts for older people, arts and disabilities, arts and health. So they're art practices. because you could do any art form. You know, so if you're working with older people, you could do theatre, you could do music, you could do dance. So those are art forms, and then we talk about art practices. So the Arts Council has sort of expanded over the years, but a lot of that change really only happened in the last 30 years or so. So we were established in 1983, and it was really a group of artists who were quite radical and political, and they were doing work with communities. And at the time, the arts sector and the funding bodies didn't really care. They were like, no, that doesn't count. It's not real art.
Oh, you mean the nursing home or the care home? They don't.
Yeah, all of that stuff. So artists working with any kinds of communities.
Yeah.
A lot of them were working at that time in the 1980s. There was a lot of poverty in Ireland, a lot of very, very difficult circumstances, a lot of drug problems.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of artists that just saw that these really big challenges were affecting communities, so they went and just started working with them.
Yeah.
And they knew that doing art projects with people would help, but the government and the Arts Council didn't really pay attention for a long time. So those artists got together and formed a network in 1983, and originally it was just a very small group, and it kind of grew, and then it became a bigger organization, and now it's us. So now, you know, we've been very well established as an organization, and working nationally for a long time, and we get a lot more funding than we used to get in the old days, sort of from the Arts Council. So we have a very good relationship now with the Arts Council, and they talk a lot about the importance of this kind of work that we do. So to give you the kind of the simple definition, so what Create does is what we call collaborative arts. So some people will call it socially engaged arts or social practice, all of these kind of terms. But essentially it's about an artist or more than one artist working with other people who are not professional artists, and they collaborate. So we always think it's important that the idea is that you're collaborating, you're not directing people. You know,
cooperate just together.
Yeah, that there has to be some kind of equality. That the artist brings their experience and expertise and their training, but that doesn't mean that they're in charge. And they tell the community what to do, that they need to work with the community because those people bring their experience and their expertise, and they have their own creative ideas. And so the two have to somehow work together, rather than you will have a lot of, say if you go to like the big museums and galleries, they will do a lot of workshops where an artist says, okay, you can come, you can sit around this table and you're going to do what I tell you to do. And that's fine if they do really nice things, but we would call that participatory arts. So the people who come are participating, but they're not collaborating, because you're not equals. It's more like a teacher and a student, you know. So what we're interested in is how people work together. And it's much more difficult, and it gets very messy, and
it's difficult for artists or for the community?
For everybody, but certainly I would say most artists, you know, they go to maybe art college here in Ireland, and they are trained to be
professional.
Yeah, but they're trained to be very solo practitioners. To go to your studio, make your art, and then hope you get the exhibition or somebody buys your artwork. And that's, I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's a very difficult career. It's very hard to make money as an artist. So then a lot of artists look to see, well, what sort of public funding is available. And certainly a lot of public funding in Ireland, because it comes from public bodies, they are very interested in social outcomes. So there will be a lot of funding that comes from areas like local government bodies that are not art they're not focused on art, they're focused on how do we make life better for our community in our area. But then they will fund art projects. So what happens is a lot of artists who previously haven't even thought about working in collaboration with the community, they see these opportunities and they go, okay, I'll do that. But they haven't thought about the collaborative relationship. They are thinking, like I said, like a teacher and a student.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we do is trying to help artists in particular, kind of to train them and explain how to try to work in a different way, that you can be more collaborative, more equal, which is not easy, and it's not every artist is good at this. So some of them, they just say, okay, no, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Because obviously once you're collaborating with anybody, it can be one person or it can be a big group of a whole bunch of people who live in the same place or whatever it is. Or like in your area, thinking about care homes.
Yeah.
What you're dealing with is people. You're dealing with personalities and relationships.
Yeah.
So they're never easy. Like in any part of our life, every relationship is challenging. People need to understand each other. They need to trust each other. They need to be able to communicate. And if you're collaborating on an art project, art kind of all the time is quite personal to people, and they're very passionate. So when you come in and you say, I want us to do this, but somebody else says, but I want to do this, and I really believe in this, and this was really important to me. That's when you can get these kind of arguments, I guess, that people don't want to give in because it's quite personal and quite passionate what they're doing. So we don't have like a magic solution for that, but we try to help artists and train them to understand how to create the right atmosphere and a process that allows them to include everybody and to let everybody contribute and feel that they're part of the creative process. But you also need to not have that descend into total chaos of everybody doing whatever they want. It can get very messy. So roughly that's kind of the area that we deal with.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned then, so some of the projects that we would be involved in or we support would be artists working in care settings or working with older people, but equally lots of them are not. They're working with younger people. They might be working with refugees, all sorts of groups. So artists choose who they are interested in collaborating with usually. So we don't normally direct projects. We don't say, we want you to work with this group of people. Normally what happens is the artists come to us, or a community group maybe comes to us and they say, we'd love to do a project, and then they come up with a proposal, and then we run a funding program, but it's not our money, kind of our money, but it's the Arts Council. So they fund most of the arts in Ireland, but they have one or two schemes that they have that instead of them managing it, they give it to us. So particularly because I think this kind of collaboration with communities is quite complicated, the Arts Council prefer that they say, okay, you do that. Yeah. Because we, as an organisation, have the experience and we understand what makes a project good, or maybe that it's less likely to be successful. So we've been managing that funding program since 2002, so 23 years. So a really, really long time. Yeah. Every year we manage that. The total budget for the scheme is €350,000. Wow. So that's how much they give to us every year, and then most of that, I think about 280,000 is given out in direct grants, and then there's other things that we run in terms of some training and some we have a mentoring program to help younger artists maybe to learn from more experienced artists. So Joanna, that you met Joanna Hopkins, yes?
Yeah, she invited me to the care home because she collaborate in like one of the care home and just doing some long-term residency and just one of her project in the Belton Festival. Yeah, but the organizations that just like you say, just a lot of things happened, and sometimes it depends on the residents, their situation. Maybe they are too tired, and like that day, just some of the men that they don't feel like they want to do the artwork, so they just decide to I just want to chat with you, so I don't want to do anything. I just sit there, just anything. A lot of things happen, so just one day, but I think that I saw a lot of things happen during the each other, the residents and the artists and the staff in the nursing home, like the nurse, social workers. When they saw the resident feel a little bit tired, and they just stop the things, and they just decide to brought the residents to the room. But the artwork is still on doing, so it needs a lot of like conversations between each other. So you're like offer the training for the artists and the communities, like the ethic guideline for the artists, that when they do things with the resident,
I think it's funny. So like I said, there isn't a magic solution, and every project is different, and every community is different. So what we try to do is, I guess, help to train artists to understand the principles of how to work. Because we can't say to them, here's the list and this is how you run a project, because it'll always be different. And so Joanna is a brilliant artist, and so she previously was in our mentoring program.
Mentoring.
She applied as a kind of a younger artist, and she was then paired up with John Conway, who I mentioned to you in the email, who's done a lot of work in healthcare and care homes and all of these things. So he's already had all the problems, and he's had his disasters, and then he's like, okay, I've learned now how to do these things. So for a year, John and Joanna would meet regularly, and John would help her to think through maybe her next idea, or if she was working on a project, she'd say, okay, this is really difficult, and he helped her. So I think now she's a lot more comfortable. And so, like you say, when you're in that kind of care home setting, you have to prioritize the sort of well-being and the needs of the residents. That just because you say, okay, I'm here for 2 hours, you have to do the art project. It might not be possible. As you say, they might be too tired, or they aren't feeling well or something, so you can't worry about that. And it sounds like the way she was running it, it was quite fluid, kind of flexible.
Flexible.
That people can sort of drop in, they can be involved, but if they don't want to, they want to do something else. And some of them, as you say, they just want to talk. But that's often, I think, in the kind of work that we do, no matter who you're working with, in any context, any community, the conversation is the important part at the beginning. Because, like I said, you need to find a way to understand and trust each other. That if you come in and you say, okay, I'm an artist and we're going to do this thing now, people will be like, oh, I don't know, they're a bit unsure or apprehensive maybe. But if you sit and you talk to them for a while, and then you come back again next week and the next week, eventually they go, okay, you know, I like Joanna, she's friendly, we know each other, And then when she says, okay, do you want to work together on this project and do something, they go, okay, because they trust her. But that, again, is something that a lot of artists forget, that they go straight into the project and they haven't worked on their relationship with the participants. So, yeah, it's nice to kind of see somebody like Joanna who's learned over the last few years how to manage that.
Yeah,
because artists are often under a lot of pressure
really?
from whoever the funder may be or the care home or whoever it is. That they're like, okay, you have to get this done, you have a deadline, you know, we have this much money, you need to do it quick, and so then they feel like, oh, they need to force people to get these things done. So again, when people come to us with applications for projects, we often will tell them that you shouldn't try to plan everything, because it won't happen. If you tell us at the beginning you're going to do this every week, and at the end you will have this outcome, you're going to end up trying to force things rather than collaborating with the group. So normally what we want people to put into an application is something that's a lot looser, that allows that flexibility. So we want to know more about how they understand their working practice. So if they can tell us, this is how I will engage with those people, and this is how I work, this is how I build relationships, this is how I try to bring them into a creative process. That's what we want to know. But that's, again, it's a difficult thing for artists, because if you're applying for any other funding in arts in Ireland, they want to know exactly what will happen, who will be involved, what will happen at the end, you know, how much everything will cost, down to, you know, €1, all of this. So artists are used to having to try and plan everything and be really, really specific. But then when they come to us, we say no. We want something completely different. We want you to leave the space for things to grow organically, you know, to collaborate. And so we always say to us, we say to the artist, if you're telling us what's going to happen at the end, then you're not collaborating. You're directing them towards a predetermined outcome. So people will send us applications that are very, very, they put a lot of work in, and it's very specific and detailed, and then we say no, you're not getting the funding, and they get very angry because they think, but I planned it all, and we're like, but that's the problem. If you've planned it, you're not making any space for the participants to come in and contribute and to help decide what direction the project will go. So again, it's a hard thing.
So no plan is the good way to
sort of,
to entry point.
But that's it. It's a really hard thing to explain to artists, and it's hard to write an application where you're saying, well, I don't know what's going to happen. Because we ask a lot of questions and people go, well, what am I supposed to tell you if I don't know what the project is? So again, we try to do training sessions and things, and we do a lot of one-to-one advice when we offer funding at least twice each year. So in March and then in September.
For artists or the community?
Yeah, this is another thing that's complicated. So we in the funding that we manage for the Arts Council, there's the 2 rounds, so March and September, and in each of those rounds we have a couple of different awards, but the main ones, there is what we call the R&D awards, so research and development, and artists apply for that. And the idea of that is that they get a very small amount of money, but it allows them to go and think and develop a project or a relationship. So it might be that, so somebody like Joanna says, okay, I want to do R&D, and we give her a bit of money, and it's really just to pay for her to have time. And then she goes to Beaufort House in Navan and she talks to them and she says, would you like to do a project together? And she might meet some of the residents, and then they start to think, oh, you know, what we would love to do is this kind of thing. So she starts to develop the plan. It's not to deliver a project, but you're planning and you're thinking. And then we have the other awards, that's the much bigger ones. Well, they're not huge, it's up to €15,000, and that's for projects. So if an artist has had the time to then go and develop something with a group, they come back to us and they make an application for a project award. But it's not the artist that applies, it's the community.
Oh, like the nursing home to apply. Oh,
exactly.
Okay.
So that again is unique. That doesn't happen anywhere else in arts funding in Ireland. It's always artists apply. And they might have a partner organisation like a care home, but it's always the artist who's usually applying, and we do it the upside down sort of, that we've changed it. And a lot of artists don't like that.
Why?
Because they're like, well, I want to do the project and I want to get the money. And often they're used to writing a lot of applications, so they know how to do it. Whereas the care home are like, well, we don't write applications for arts funding. We don't know how. So, but it kind of forces them to work together from the beginning. I think part of the problem would be that sometimes an artist might send an application to us saying, I'm going to work with this care home, and then you give them the money, and then it turns out that the care home aren't interested. And they're like, no. So then the artist is stuck. We've given them the money, and they don't know what to do. So part of the idea of that structure with the applications is to make sure that whoever the group community that you want to collaborate with, it just ensures that they're involved from the very first step, that they know what the project is, what the proposal is, and then if they're successful, we give the money to the community. So it would go to the care home or whoever it might be. So they have the money, they're in charge. So it makes sure that they can't disappear. Because they have a contract with us. And then they pay the artist. So otherwise, the artist sometimes would just have all the money and the partner organisation just disappears. So it's tricky, and it can be confusing for the artists, because as I say, every other funding works differently. Or they're all the same and we are different.
Because you offer a chance for the community or the care settings to apply first. It's just only you do this, or it's normal in the island?
No, it's really only us, in this funding, because then the Arts Council would have other funding that they do under the department that they call Arts Participation. And in their awards and things that the grants that they offer, it's always the artist who applies. So you could apply, if you have this idea to work with a care home, you could come to us, or you could go directly to the Arts Council, but we will do it in a different way. So if you're an artist and you want to get maybe more money than what we have, you can go to the Arts Council, but you will be the lead applicant and you will receive the money, and then you have all the responsibility, and you need to make sure you have your partner. Now, if people do apply to the Arts Council for those bigger awards, usually what the Arts Council do is they look at the artist's CV, their track record, to go, well, if you want 50,000 to do a big project, they go, well, have you done other projects before? And usually what they're looking for is to see, have they done work with us and have we funded them? So that's why a lot of artists would come, like Joanna, they'd come to us, they'd do some training workshops, they might do the mentoring program, then they get the R&D award, then they get a project award, so they're kind of building it up. And then once they have a strong kind of track record and a reputation, and they can show that they've done good projects that have been successful, then the Arts Council will say, okay, we will give you a bigger grant to do a bigger project, and then they will be the lead, and the care home or whoever the community is would be a partner. They don't have to do the application. But it's basically only us that do it this way around.
Wow.
So yeah, it's confusing for people, but we kind of believe that
it's important.
it is important, yeah, and it makes the relationships stronger.
So it lasts like many years, long time.
Well, as I said, the biggest award that we give out it's called the Artist in the Community scheme. That's the funding scheme we run, and the biggest award is €15,000. So that's not a lot because Ireland is very expensive. I don't know if you noticed, but
€15,000 is not enough.
A lot. So usually when somebody gets like the R&D award, they're like about €3,000-4,000. So it's not a lot. But as I say, it's not to spend on a big project. It's just to pay yourself as an artist to have some time. But we usually say to them that you shouldn't be using that for more than maybe 6 months. It's to pay you to have some time to go and develop this. It's not meant to last for a year, 2 years more. With the project awards, we usually say that realistically it shouldn't run for more than 1 year or maybe 1 year and a half. So 18 months kind of maximum. We do have people that we've given those grants to and they still aren't finished, and it's maybe 3 or 4 years later, but usually that's because they didn't start quickly.
Okay.
There might have been some problems with the partner organization or something, or lots of things get delayed. Obviously when we had the pandemic, lots of things were stopped and delayed, but there's always challenges. But I think the main thing we try to tell the artists is that 15,000 is not a lot of money, and they have to pay for the direct costs of whatever they might be producing, and they have to pay themselves. The community organization pays the artist. So if a project is running for like 2 years, we're like, there's not enough money there to pay the artist properly. So if it's still running over 2 or 3 years, then it means that the artist is being paid really badly, or they're being paid not at all. So that's why we say to people, no, you should, if you have this much money, you should do a project that lasts this long. But artists tend to be, as I say, they're very passionate, and they love the work that they're doing, and they care about the people that they are working with. So when the money runs out, they usually just say, well, I'll just keep doing the work. So they're working for free a lot. So we're always trying to stop them from doing that, because it's not fair. But also, if artists keep kind of working for free or for very cheap, then the government and the Arts Council will never award more money to the arts, because they think it's fine, we'll give you this much money and you'll do loads of work. So you have to be honest about how much time is going into the projects to make sure that we can then say, no, we need more than 15,000 for a project. We need to give people 20 or whatever it might be, because the expectation of what the artist will do is just so high. They do so much work. It's not just turning up to the care home and doing a few hours. It's all the preparation, it's all the organization of these things. It's a lot of work to do. And even if you take, minimum wage in Ireland, I can't remember what it is, but it's like €14 an hour or something. So if you calculate that and you work that out, the artists should be paid a lot, but most of them are being paid quite a low amount. But again, we had somebody actually who applied in the most recent round in March, and we looked at their application, and lots of it was very good, but they just didn't really include pay for themselves in the budget. I think they might have included something really, really small. And so we class that application as ineligible. So it didn't go to the panel. So we would have a panel then of external artists and experts who look at all the applications and make the decision. But before they go to the panel, we check and we say, okay, this isn't eligible at all, it's completely wrong. So that one wasn't considered by the panel because we just said, no, you can't propose a project if you're not paying the artist, you know. And that person was very annoyed because they wanted to get the money in to do the project, and they said to us, I don't mind, like I'm happy to do the work.
Yeah.
But then we said, but that creates a really bad environment.
Yeah.
And so the funding that we give, the rules are that it is for professional artists. So if you're working for free, you're not a professional artist. So we said that to this person. We said, this is the rules. We have to fund professional artists to do projects, and that means the artist has to get paid.
Yeah.
Even though you want to do it for free or for very, very cheap, we can't allow
because
that.
Equal is the important things in your the create organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it sets a really bad precedent. If one artist is doing things very cheap, then it's hard for other artists to get paid properly. So you need to have everybody on the same level. It's been a big thing in Ireland in the last 10 or 15 years to try and make sure that artists are being paid properly.
Oh, so in the past the artists have no like
There
a lot
was-
of pay?
Yeah, there wasn't consistency that some artists got paid. Like a lot of the exhibitions in galleries in Ireland, they would have a budget for the exhibition. And so they would say to the artist, okay, you have €20,000 for the exhibition, but then the artist had to pay for making all the work and everything to put the exhibition together. And then you'd find out, well, how much did the artist make in pay for themselves? And they got nothing because they spent all the money because they wanted to make a really great exhibition, and at the end of it they got no pay. So there was a lot of work done in the sector here to make sure that if you were running a gallery and you were getting funding from the Arts Council or whoever, if it's public funding, that you have to have a clear policy and you have to have sort of ring-fenced funding. So when you have an exhibition, you have artists pay and then you have production, and they're separate. So the artist shouldn't lose money because you need to spend it on producing the artwork, you know. So now there's a lot more transparency. All of us organizations like us are required to have an artist pay policy on our website, and we have a list of how much we pay artists for different kinds of work. So if we're doing a conference and we want an artist to speak on stage in a panel or something, we say, okay, minimum that we pay is €200 to do a talk or something like this. And if we ask you to do a training workshop that's like one whole day, this is the minimum that we pay, and that anybody can go to our website and look at that. So if we try to hire somebody and we say, oh, could you do a whole workshop but we'll only pay you €100, they can look at the website and go, no, you can't do that. So
it's like a shared platform that everybody or artists, the community can just look at the shared platform and connect each other.
yeah, well, so we on our website we share how much we pay artists, and then if an artist wants to, they can go to another organization and look at their website and say, well, how much do you pay artists, and are these similar, you know, because obviously people might pay a little bit more or whatever, but the idea is to stop any organization from trying to pay artists zero or close to zero, because they should have transparency of their pay rates. And then, as I say, if they try to get an artist to do something cheap, the artist can say no because your policy says that this is the minimum. So before, a few years ago, artists couldn't really do that. They didn't know how much other people were being paid, and people don't really talk about those things, you know. It's quite secret. So instead now the organisations have to be transparent. So that's helped a lot.
Wow.
But yeah, as I said, artists are still always very eager to, they want to do more projects, they want to do things, and they want to make a reputation. So there are lots of them, especially younger artists, are really willing to do the work without getting paid properly. So you have to try and stop that all the time and say, no, you should be paid. So a lot of the time they might not get to do the project, but you have to convince them that it's better, because when you do get a project you're going to get paid. It's a
because
slow
they need
process.
to do the work for a long time, and they need to have the money to live.
Yeah, like, you know, I went to art college down the road here in Dublin, and when I came out of college, you know, things were kind of bad economically here in Ireland, like 20 years ago.
Oh, so you in the past you were also an like artist.
Yeah, a little bit.
You experienced all the artists.
Yeah, I guess I tried. I wasn't very good, so then I stopped.
Wow, fabulous.
Yeah, I studied sculpture in NCAD,
sculpture.
but really the sculpture department was kind of where everything else fitted. So they had painting and printing and digital, and then sculpture was where this kind of work existed, that if you wanted to collaborate with communities, you went to the sculpture department, because you could kind of do anything there. So I studied in that kind of field, and then I left the college at the end and did a little bit of work, and I did a lot of work as a photographer, and I did some projects, but I kind of realized that I didn't enjoy it so much. And not all of my friends that I had studied with, some of them, they're now still going, they're very successful, they're really good at what they're doing, and I was kind of going, no, it doesn't feel right for me. So I started doing more work in the sort of management side of the art sector. So I did all sorts of jobs here in Dublin, and then I moved to the UK, and I worked in Scotland, and then in London, and then I moved back here a couple of years ago and started working with Create. But I really like it, because some people like me are happy to be involved in lots of work, and I like helping artists.
It's important to just get everybody together.
That's what I like to do. Get people together. And, most of the artists that we work with, they're really lovely people. Because I've worked in other parts of the art sector, maybe when I was in London and stuff. And you have a lot of artists who have big egos. They think they're celebrities. You know, they can be quite selfish then, that they only care about me. Whereas the artists that we work with, people like Joanna, they care about other people.
So it's like the culture difference.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's Ireland, people just friendly and just like the culture gap, or
sort of. I think you're right. Obviously people in Ireland generally are quite friendly, and we're very social people, but you still will have artists in Ireland who are very selfish and maybe concerned. They want to be famous and successful, and that's all they care about. And that's fine, you can go and you can be an artist and do that and be successful, but I don't like those people. I don't want to have to work with them. So the artists that I get to work with every day are people who are trying to do really nice things with other people. They're trying to make a difference. Like, so much of what you see here, these books are not all about art. A lot of these books, they're about politics, about protest, activism, social movements. Because I guess the artists that we work with and then the communities that they collaborate with, they're usually trying to talk about how they see the world and the things that matter to them personally. And so often that becomes quite political. Because if you, like I said, if you're working with a group of refugees who have arrived in Ireland, and you ask them about their lives, they're going to tell you, well, things have been really difficult, and I left this country, now I'm here, and things are still difficult, and I'm not allowed to do certain things, and you know, there is racism in Ireland. It's not, we're not the worst country in the world, but there are problems, you know, so a lot of artists will then end up working with a group to discuss these kind of social or political problems, whatever they may be. And I'm sure the same comes up in the care homes as well, that it's not just about old people sitting and painting a nice picture, it's about that conversation that we were talking about, and figuring out what do they care about and what do they want to do, because a lot of the time in a care home things are quite controlled. So people, they eat and they sleep and they take their medication and things like that, and everything is very safe, but people don't always ask them what they care about, what are they passionate about, what would they love to do today, you know, because they tend to be focused on safety and kind of minimizing risk, that you can't do anything dangerous. Whereas when an artist comes in, often they're connecting with them in a more personal way and finding out what they're excited about or worried about or anything like this. So yeah, there's something about the people, the artists who do this work and are good at it and keep doing it for years. They're very good at building relationships and understanding people. And in a way, like you were talking about the care home in Navan, that they work a little bit like a social worker, you know, that they're trying to understand people and maybe help them in some way. But again, you're not in that teacher-student kind of, okay, you tell me your problem and then I'll fix it for you. You're talking to them so that maybe you can think together and understand the problem, and then think about what could we do together to help, you know. So I like the mindset of the artists. They have a good kind of motivation for why they're doing the work. So that's why I enjoy my job.
It's nice.
Yeah, you feel like you're working with good people who are doing good things all the time.
It's meaningful.
Yeah.
It's meaningful.
I always say I don't think I could get out of bed every day and come to work if I was doing some job that I thought it was, I don't know, I wouldn't work in a bank or something. I'd be like, oh no.
I'm doing what you like to do. Enjoy in the job is the...
Yeah, something that all of us who work here are very passionate about the work that we're doing, and we're all here because we love it.
Wow, it's the most important things.
Yeah. I always say, I say it to my staff team here all the time, that I'm like, if you're really miserable here, then you should leave, because you could go and be miserable in a bank and get way more money. You don't earn a lot of money working in arts organizations like this. Like we try to pay our staff as good as we can, but if you compare it to working for Facebook and Google down the road or something, you know, you can earn way more money if you're going to be really miserable and sad about your work. But people who work here are really happy because they love what they're doing, and it's
wonderful,
exciting, and it's interesting, and they get to meet all these lovely artists, and, you know, they feel like they're making a positive difference to Ireland as a country. So yeah, they're not here to make lots of money. They're here to do something they believe in, I think. So, yeah, it's nice. It means there's a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, so grateful to hear that. Just everybody enjoy their job and just in this. Wow, it's nice.
Unfortunately, it's Friday, so I was saying I'm usually, things are always quiet, so nobody's here today.
Today is like the
kind of working at home day a lot. So a lot.
That's why many people. Because I lived in the Dublin one.
Yeah.
And the roommate, they all at home. And I don't know why. Just they say, oh, today's work at home day. It's Fridays.
Yeah, Fridays are always really quiet. If you get the bus into the city, it's very quiet. Since the pandemic, before the pandemic, people were kind of in the office all the time. But now, all around the city, usually Monday and Friday, there's a lot less people. People like to stay at home.
Wow, but it's more flexible. Just for people can doing at the home.
Yeah, so at the moment we have 12 staff. So that's not a lot, but actually a lot of other arts organisations in Dublin or in Ireland, they might only have 5 or 6 people. So when people ask me, they say, how many people have you got? And I say, we've got 12.
12, a lot of people.
But some of them, about half of them work part-time, so they maybe work 3 days a week, and then the rest are full-time. So they do 5 days, but usually they'll do maybe 1 or 2 days working at home. So, and especially when the weather is nice like this, sometimes people want to
go out,
stay at home and kind of maybe go on a walk in the park, because if you're in the city, it's a bit harder, it's a bit busier in the city.
So the weather these days is like the very wonderful, right? In Ireland.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks we've had lots of dry, sunny days. It's not very hot, but it's nice. It's nice to walk around.
Nice.
Irish people aren't used to really high temperatures.
It's not very high, right?
No, I think today it's like 16 or 17 today. In the afternoon it will be warmer. But if it goes over sort of 20 or 25, then Irish people go crazy.
So you have the air conditioner?
Not so much, yeah.
Because your summer is very short.
Short, and it's not that hot. So normally, or I guess traditionally, most Irish buildings you won't see air conditioning. But now some of the big new offices where you were staying down in the Docklands, where Google and Facebook and people are, they will have air conditioning in these big modern office buildings. But most older buildings in Ireland, and people don't have air conditioning in their homes. Like most people are worried about making it hotter. Because we have quite a long winter, it's quite cold and wet and damp, so people are more trying to warm up, so we have our radiators on.
Yeah, I noticed that you have the...
Yeah, it's probably quite different from what you're used to.
Yeah, because the weather, just like the sky, is still bright until the 9 p.m.
Quite late,
but in Taiwan, from Taiwan, and it's just like became dark, like 5 p.m.
In the summertime?
Yeah, summertime.
Oh, wow.
And the wintertime is the same. Maybe a little different. Summertime more longer daylight, but just normally just get dark in the 6.
Like if it's the middle of winter, like near Christmas in December, it would get dark maybe at 4. So we're nearly at the middle of summer, so in a few weeks, in the end of June, it will be still bright and sunny until maybe near 10. But we're nearly there now, so it's still bright at 9:30. So,
it's a lot of difference.
Tell me about what you do then in Taiwan. So what's your work, and how are you connected into all of this art practice?
My background is theater, drama, and because of my grandma just lives in the middle of the Taiwan, so it's a small rural village, a small county. And when I'm a child, and my grandma just saw a lot of homeless near her house. So she just invite them to her house to live with her. But that's in one child. But when I grew up, and that area, just my grandma's house, just became a small group and have a lot of residents. So nowadays it's become a small scale like nursing home.
Yeah.
So I just decided to came back to my hometown now to accompany with my grandma, my grandfather, and my parents, and because they have no idea about the like long-term care or they just lived in there in a small rural village. So when I came back, I just saw a lot of things like, just like you say, the resident, they have a lot of like situations or mobility limited. They live there for over 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, so they became very sick. And what I'm doing now just to combine the art, integrate the elderly care, but it's also not easy because the founding, just like because nowadays the when people get the money, they prefer to put them into the more measured way. Just because like art, it can measure or evaluate.
Okay.
Yeah, just I just wonder that in Ireland, is there any like the evaluation framework or just like a feedback to let the foundation or the government, because the government give the money to, and maybe if the government see the feedback or the outcome is it's successful, it can measure it, so they can put many money. But if not, they can see the art can be measured, they may put the money to the more like another area like medical or just like metric. We have the like mattress, the bed on the bed, and just like AI mattress, they prefer to buy that instead to invite the artist into the community, or just like, I think that it's just the reason that's more difficult for us to do the cooperate. But I just want to do is combine the art and the care settings. Can do things like that. So we just like invite some artists or do some performers, just a little things. So but this project I'm doing now in Ireland, just supported by the National Culture Art Foundation. They just want me to explore some art, integrate the care center or the nursing home, just like elderly people, every kind of art. So I just collect and write the report, or find some organization that they support these kind of things like residency or the a lot of cooperation. So I can do my report and come back to Taiwan, and I can do just the organization can see the report and maybe just
And so do you, or have you been working independently as an artist, or have you been working in an organization?
In the past, I just because my background is theater performance, so I've been a long time. I just be like stage like performance because it's my major. But I'm not actually to do the theater drama and combine with the nursing home. I have some project is it's about related, just like a little film or a little like record, and it's for the nursing home, but it's not long time, just maybe 6 months, and it's just like a small art pieces. Yeah, just short of, because no funding, and just it's just like that. So it's not easy for artists in Taiwan. Not just me, but I think that in the Ireland it has a good opportunity for artists can do a lot of things like that.
Okay. No, it's interesting.
And
so the people, the organization, the National Foundation, are they like the major funder for arts in Taiwan? So they're similar to our Arts Council?
It's similar.
Lots of grants.
But they gain money is by the government. So the government can decide that I want to give you how much. And they gave the long-term care a lot of money. And the foundation just like that. So it depends also. They are very passionate, just like you say that many artists, and just they want to support all the artists can do the enjoyable and have the money, but they are just not easy, so they try hard to do these things. So
it's interesting.
So
you were talking a bit about evaluation there, I guess. Evaluation is one of those really, really tricky things.
Just they want to see the valuation so they can give the money, but no valuation, no money, just like that.
I've talked to people all over the world about evaluation, and everybody is kind of unhappy that. So pretty much every project that happens in Ireland will have some kind of evaluation. But it's definitely not consistent. There isn't any, as you say, an evaluation framework that everybody understands and we all follow. As I say, the Arts Council are maybe the main funder, but there's also all these other funders out there, local governments and other government departments and different agencies and us and others. So everybody has a different kind of process of what they want people to give them. So if you receive the grant, they'll say, okay, we want a report. And some people will give you a form and say you need to answer these questions. Other people will say, well, you just write your own report. Send us whatever you want. So everybody is doing something different all the time. As I said, some of the stuff on the wall over there would be reports from different projects, but they'll all be different. And so I guess sometimes there's the thing that there is a real focus on numbers, data, so some funders really just want to know how many performances of your theatre production did you do, how many people attended, how many people were involved, and how much money did you make or whatever, all of this. But it doesn't really tell you anything then about, so we would talk about the quantitative and qualitative. You get that? Same thing. So the qualitative part is much harder. How do you compare that? How do you understand that? How do you measure the impact that Joanna is having on any of the individuals in that care home? It's quite a hard thing to articulate or to quantify. So everybody does something different. We have done some research projects in the last few years to try and figure out a framework for collaborative arts work, because we thought maybe, again, without saying this is the template for everybody to follow, but you have guidelines, principles of these are things you should consider when you're doing evaluation. But even doing that has been really, really difficult. So I don't know, I wouldn't have an answer for you on like how we do evaluation. I would just say that there is a lot being done, but some of it probably isn't very useful, and it's all very different. I guess the conversation that happens all the time here is people saying that evaluation shouldn't be something that you do at the end of the project just so that your funder is happy, which is probably the most common thing. People, they get the money, they do the project, and then they go, oh God, we better put something, and we'll ask people, did you enjoy the project? Yes, no, tick the box, and then they give that to the funder and they forget about it. So everybody always talks about this and says, no, the evaluation should be something that helps you to understand what you're doing and how you can do it better, and to understand the impact that you're having. And I think people have learned about how to do that better, but they understand that actually it's quite hard. They know what they should do, but it involves having evaluation running from before the beginning and after the end. Because as you'll know, like some of these impacts, the personal impacts with participants, when you finish the project and the next day you say, okay, how does this project impact you? They don't know. But if you ask them 1 year later or 5 years later, those people might say, that actually changed something really significant in my life.
Yes.
But at that point, the funding is gone, the artist is gone, so nobody is asking those questions.
No, it's hard.
So we all know that we could do it better, but it's quite hard to do that because we don't have the stability and the structures to allow that. And I think that's probably one of the major challenges we have in Ireland, and I don't know if it's different with your foundation in Taiwan, that basically all of the funding that we get in Ireland for art projects is quite short term. So you, as I say, you might get funding to do a project for a few weeks or 6 months or maybe a year. Anything over 1 year is very, very rare. It's not a lot of times will you ever see anything that can run for more than a year. But obviously, especially this kind of work where you're thinking about working with communities and developing relationships, and the idea of helping to drive like significant social change, you can't see that in 1 year. It really is about long term. I think I put one of these, I'll give you these. So one of our publications a few years ago, these two artists are based over in Galway, in Tuam, and we have been doing a lot of work in this town, Tuam. But the two of them had worked together for years, and they had done loads and loads of work with young people. And then we gave them a bursary award, which meant that they had time to think about their history as artists. So they spent about a year, because we gave them a big enough award that it meant they didn't have to go and do other work. They were able to sit back and think. And a lot of what they did was that they thought back to when they first started working with young people many, many years ago, like kind of 20 years or more. And then they thought about how they had changed as artists over those years. But they also managed to contact some of those young people that they worked with 20 years ago, who are now adults and are living their life and working and whatever. And they asked them questions about like, how do you feel about that now? And so some of them are like, oh yeah, I forgot we did a theatre thing when I was a kid, you know. But other people said, you know, that changed everything in my life, you know, that, you know, I maybe wasn't having a good time in school, but when I did the art project with you, it made me realize what I was good at, and now I do these kind of things in my job and whatever. And some of them are actors, you know, in theatre and things like this. So, but I just think that's a really rare opportunity for artists to have that chance to go and figure out the long-term impact of the work that they've done. Most of the time, artists are just going from one project to the next project to the next project, and they're always worried about just getting the next thing, and they never have the chance to look back at their own history, you know. But we'd love to see more and be able to do more of these kind of things to help artists and organizations to kind of reflect back on their previous work.
So they met the young children. Until now, the children just grow up and have their...
They then leave, usually.
Wow.
So. But I know, because they've worked a lot in the town where they live, and they grew up themselves, so they've had projects that they ran for children, and then the children and teenagers, maybe they grow up and then they leave and they go to university or something, or they work, and then a lot of them come back, and then they have their own families, and then their children go and work with these artists again. So then they meet some of them, they come back as parents years later, and they say, oh, well, I really loved when I was a child the things you did for me, so I want my child now to have something similar. So they've had these sort of cycles, I guess, of working with people.
Wow.
I took out a couple of these, so these are all for you. If you can fit them in your bag and take them home.
So it's like one month, and you can.
Yeah, not every month, but we do two issues every year. So every 6 months. So this one is just new, came out just a couple of weeks ago. And then this one would have been last year, and this one was last year.
Wow.
So this one is about evaluation.
Okay.
Part of the research project that I mentioned. It doesn't have all the answers. It's more a discussion about evaluation. And then this one is a different publication that we did. That was a residency that this artist, Kate O'Shea, did. And it's more about maybe the kind of political side of the work. She was working in an area where there is a lot of poverty and homelessness in Dublin. So she was working with this community that felt that they had been let down by government. They weren't being provided with things they needed, but they also looked around in the same area of Dublin, and they saw all these hotels and tourists everywhere, and there's all this money for other people, but not for them. So they asked a lot of questions about, who is the city for, and how many hotels do we need in Dublin? Because there are a lot,
And about the homeless?
Yeah, well, there's kind of an ongoing housing crisis in Ireland that people cannot afford rent or to buy a house.
So that's the reason that why there are some homeless.
The homeless numbers have been going up and up and up for years,
in Ireland?
for a long time.
Because the rent is too expensive?
Everything is so expensive. So it's strange that what's happened over the last sort of 10 years is that families and other people who have become homeless because they couldn't afford their rent, the government are then putting them in hotels. And the government are paying loads and loads of money to hotels to have all these people living there long term. But then it meant that the hotels were all full. So then other companies come around and they build new hotels for the tourists. But that building all these hotels is taking up space that means that there is no new houses for people to live in. So it's a problem that's going around in a circle. That they're investing.
It's just in Dublin or all around
over Ireland is really bad. Dublin is the worst because it's the big city, and it gets more tourists and more people generally. So there is a lot of homeless people. There's a charity just around the corner here who do food for homeless people. So every day at lunchtime there will be lots of people going in here to get lunch. They've been doing that for years. They're a really great charity, but they keep saying that they can't handle it. It's gotten so bad that years ago it was a small group of people who would come for food, but now they just have so many people coming. They're like, we don't have enough. We can't fit everybody in there, you know. So yeah, there's a lot, but that publication is kind of talking about a lot of those issues about the inequality and capitalism.
Do they also do some artwork things with the homeless?
Yeah. I wonder if we have anything. Can't remember. So yeah, because it's such a big problem in Ireland in the last few years. As I said to you at the beginning, we don't tend to tell artists that we want you to focus on this issue or this community. They come to us. So especially when we built these rooms, we've been gathering the archive of everything that Create has been involved in for 40 years. But I was saying to people that if you look at the projects that have happened over 40 years, you can sort of see a history of Ireland, because the things that the artists and the communities were collaborating to work on were the important issue at that time. So as I said, if you go back to the 1980s when the organisation started, the main problem that people were talking about was like there was a lot of poverty and unemployment, especially in Dublin, and there was a really bad drug problem that a lot of people were addicted to heroin and people were dying in the city. So a lot of the projects were talking about that and trying to focus on that. And then things changed. Then in the 90s, the country sort of changed, the economy changed, and you know, we've had a lot more focus in the last few years on things to do with, I guess, diversity and integration, because
immigration.
Yeah, back in the 80s or early 90s when I was young, Ireland was not a very diverse country. We were very poor, and basically everybody was white Irish people. And then from the mid-90s on, we started to have immigration.
Yeah.
So the country started to change. And as I said, there have been problems with some racism, but most people are very friendly, very nice. But so there's been a lot of work with artists who have tried to work with immigrant communities to try and, you know, support them and to build relationships. But then obviously there's also been a load of work in the last few years around issues like climate change. Artists are always interested in climate change now, so we would have a lot of environmental projects. And then the whole area of like arts and health and older people, that's gotten bigger and bigger over time. Like again,
it's more than the young people, the elderly in Ireland.
I'd say still there's a majority of work with young people. That's more popular. This building just across the way is the Arc. It's the national sort of cultural centre for children. So they do loads of things for children over there. So they aim for like primary age, primary school children, not teenagers, you know, but just small children.
Just like kindergarten?
Yeah, up to maybe age 10 or 12 maybe sometimes, but a lot of it is for kids who are maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, something like this. So they do really nice projects. But there's a lot of like youth theatre, all sorts of stuff, music for children, different things. So children are probably more, there is more provided in arts for children, whereas older people is a smaller group, but it's been growing. I think partly because obviously there are more older people. You know, like a lot of countries, Ireland, people are living longer.
Yeah.
Our population has changed, whereas before there was maybe very few people over sort of 60, but now everybody is living longer. So there's loads and loads of people who are 70, 80, 90. So things change over time, and now there's more interest in how you can support older people. So I don't know, did you get to meet Tara from the
Tara? Oh, Tara, you mean the manager of the
Belgian
yes,
festival,
because
yeah.
the the project is like need to apply last year,
Okay.
so it's
For you to come.
yeah. So it's for a long time because there are some of the people that connect me include that Tara and Jessica and Bridge.
Yeah.
And they just told me that there are national art nursing home day.
Yeah, which was what, last week, was it?
Yeah, last week.
Yeah.
And Tara just said that it's a little disappointed because they know that
There was less stuff on the list, wasn't there?
just
Yeah.
a national.
But she said there was other things that were happening, but they didn't register it on the website, I think.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
they actually have online meeting last year, and just to talk, share things and encourage everybody to apply. And it's a big day, and every nursing home just invite the nursing home can apply, but eventually this year it's just 4. So they're a little disappointed, but there are a lot of things happen, just a lot of like art activities, but it's all for the people that are more healthy, just like dance or drawing. So just that day, just 16. 16 is the National Art Nursing Home Day. So
I know. I work with Galtana quite a lot.
Oh,
so
really?
I know Tara and all of the team very well. So they have what they call an advisory group.
Advisory group.
So other people who are working in the arts sector or working with older people, and we get together maybe 4 or 5 times every year to talk, and we help Tara and the team to plan the festival and what they're going to do. So I'm part of that group with a few other people. So I work with the team, with Tara and all the others. So no, I know they do so much work, and it's a great festival. But then still, sometimes you find that only 4 care homes register. But from talking to Tara, she's like saying that she thinks loads of care homes are they're running things on that day, but they didn't bother to register on the program, know. So they're doing it.
Just private.
Okay. It's
just for private.
Okay, we'll organize something in our care home, but they don't feel it's necessary to tell anybody because they're just going to do it in their care home. So, but for Beatana, they want it to be on the program, make it more visible, encourage more people to pay attention. I know a couple of weeks ago she said that there was a plan for one of the TV channels to come to meet Joanna and the nursing home in Navan, so they were going to put it on a television program. I don't know if that happened or when it went. I didn't see.
Joanna, that day they have a several short film, and just a celebration, and the manager of the nursing care home, and they just have some discussion of the activity, and that day maybe have some of the politic.
So local politicians who
so they need to take photos, and they need to just publish, just discuss something like that. But they also discussed that nobody tell them what to do, and they just need to just manage everything, and just for that day, and they just know, today need to be a show, and somebody will come, and we need to take a picture, just like that.
Okay. I'm just wondering, really, I guess, how much time maybe you got, or any conversations you had with Tara about like evaluation, if it's something you're interested in?
No, just in the beginning of the when I visit and I just asked about something about the National Nursing Home Day, and they just she just taught me that the situation, the problem, but she don't talk a lot about this thing because maybe it's busy.
Well, yes. So all of this month they have the festival for May. So Tara is running around really busy. But no, I think if that's something you're interested in, especially for your report, that if you want to maybe see examples of like good evaluation of projects that are working with older people and in care homes, if you ask Tara after the end of this festival, she will maybe go, oh, okay, we know this, and she can send you things by email or something.
Maybe.
So I would definitely ask her, because she's really lovely and very helpful, but she's definitely, this is her busy time of the year.
Today, in the May, they are very busy.
Yeah. I can definitely, I'll have a look as well and just see some projects that I know that if they have good evaluation documents that they could share. Because I guess when you go home you will then spend some time to do a report. It's not like you need it now.
I need to just cooperate because last month I'm in Netherlands. And this month is just for the Belgian Festival, but the organization foundation in Taiwan, they want me to explore the things that is happened with like the elderly people in nursing home. It's more mobility limited or like dementia. They just can't go out. And they just stay in the bed and just sitting on the wheelchair all the day. And these kind of elderly people it's more difficult to touch the art, the art integrate compared to the healthy elderly
people who can dance.
So
play music, something.
they think it's more difficult for this group of people. So they want me to focus on them, but it's a lot of things happen, and I just join a lot of activities for the healthy elderly people, just like dance or just a lot of things. I need to focus. The topic's too big, so
that's it. It's a really big topic, and like I say, there's lots of projects in Ireland. And there will be a lot of evaluation. I should maybe send you a link as well. So there's another organisation that are, well, not really an organisation, but they're called Creative Ireland.
Creative, it's not your...
So we are Create.
Create?
And people call us Create Ireland. But our name is Create. But then a few years ago, the government started this new thing and called it Creative Ireland, which is very confusing for us.
It's different.
But it's like a program that's within national government. So there's the Department for Culture, and so they have a team now that are called Creative Ireland, and they have their own funding, so it's separate from the Arts Council. But they've done work in very particular areas. So they've done a lot of work on climate. They've done a lot of work with children and young people. But then they've also done a whole load of work on what I think they called creative aging. So they've done a lot of projects specifically on that. And I know that because I was involved in a project a couple of years ago. We got some money from them, and we worked with I think 5 local government areas, and we put on in each of those areas we had a festival day for older people. And we did contact care homes, but it was kind of more aimed at older people who were living independently at home. But we also said, well, we'll contact the care homes and people who might want to come out to this day, and we had all these different activities that you could try a bit of this or that, whatever you prefer. But that was just one project. I know they've funded a lot of other projects for older people, and the way that they work, they definitely do a lot of really good documentation and evaluation, because it's part of the central government that they want good evidence to say this is, we spent the money and this is what happened. So I met Tanya, who runs Creative Ireland, yesterday. I can probably ask her and she might tell me some good evaluation kind of material. Yeah, because they'll definitely have stuff available online. But yeah, that's it. There's so much stuff. Let's have a quick look over here.
Okay.
Do you need to go at a certain time?
No, it depends on you, because I think that you might have some plan or appointment. So,
well, no, I'm pretty flexible for a while, so I don't need to run away. I'm just thinking there might be something here that could be particularly useful.
Arts and health.
Arts care. So some of these are very old, so I don't know much about them.
Oh, is it in care home?
I think it's not so much care for older people, but possibly people with different disabilities, I think, is that one.
Oh.
That's Northern Ireland.
North of Ireland, Belfast.
Yeah. 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 I know some of these artists. She was my tutor in sculpture in art college. Yeah, I think that's kind of a hospital project in Northern Ireland.
Magician.
Dialysis. Hospital again. So yeah, there's a lot of work in hospitals.
Yeah, hospital.
Hospital.
The Create also do the cooperate with the Realta.
Yes, yeah, we work together a lot, and then I'm one of their board members.
Oh.
So I'm going to Waterford on Monday, actually. We have a board meeting, so I will be down there. So before they were called Realta, they were called the Waterford Healing Arts Trust.
Oh, Healing Art. Healing Sound. I just participated the Healing Sound.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, really good. So this is from back when they were quite new. So again, mostly hospital work. So you got to meet Claire and the team down there as well?
Yeah, the team, and just they are very friendly to arrange me a lot of activities during
they're
these
a
days.
really great team. They're really lovely.
And I also just attend the rehearsal, the staff choir.
Oh,
they have a stack house, so I just practiced the choir, and
very nice.
and the other day they just performed.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this is evaluation arts and health program from 20 years ago.
Wow.
So it's down in Cork. So this is, you know, not everybody produces a nice book like this.
Wow.
So yeah, they've got staff opinions, key learning points, summary of comments, observations by the evaluator.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I picture just like how to? Okay.
I think like the reason that we built this library is if you go and look for this, you won't find it anywhere. Because you know these things produced a long time ago and they don't make a lot of copies. So if you go to libraries and things, you won't
and
get this.
It's not even in the internet. It's not
probably
published.
not. No. So a lot of the things that are here,
just in your library.
Yeah, you won't find them in a lot of other places. So this is 2002.
Wow. Mayo is
Mayo.
far.
In the west coast.
The Joanna lived in Mayo.
Oh yeah, she's from Mayo. I think she grew up there. Yes. So this is a residency of an artist who is working in this hospital in Mayo with older people aged 60 to 95.
Oh.
So they're residents of the hospital. So that one might be useful to have a look at.
Okay.
Are you interested in death?
Death hospice?
Yeah, because there's another group called the Irish Hospice Association, something.
Oh.
And they've been doing a lot of art projects just in the last 5 years.
Oh.
So they're really interesting, and I could introduce you to Dominic, who runs that, and he does a lot of work all over the world.
Oh, really?
In not on the death hospice work.
Oh,
but
nice.
He's involved in a lot of work in arts and health, and he's part of this global network now around brain, like neurological health and creativity, I guess. So he's very, very connected, and he spends a lot of time traveling all over the world.
Oh.
He's probably been to Taiwan.
Oh, really?
He's been everywhere. That one. Life stories of residents and daycare clients. Kylemore House in Bray. That's where I live, in Bray. I don't know that house. Maybe it's not still there. Oh, it is there. No, I know that one. Yeah, that's just down the road from my house.
Wicklow?
Yeah. And this is funded with the Alzheimer's Society. So I think it's a series of short stories and poems maybe from the different residents. So you might want to look at that one. Okay, so I've actually found loads of books for you. So let's see. So some of these, this is a report on an artist in residence project that was part of the Bealtaine Festival in 2009. So this writer worked with residents of Sligo area, so not in care homes. I think there are people living independently, but older people. So she's written up a whole kind of report on that. This is Agent Opportunity, so that's Tara's organisation. So older people and the arts case studies. This looks like it's quite old. I wonder when this is from. 1993. Oh well, 1996 is when this was published. But the work maybe started in 1993. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff in there. This one is somebody who got the R&D, Research and Development Award from us, and they gave us a report in 2009. So working with a daycare centre for older people. So lots of material in there.
Oh my God.
This one, an artist working with the older generation of County Clare, again over in the west coast of Ireland. So it seems to be a whole book documenting the project that they've done, and some stories, introductions there as well. This one, this is a nice one, an evaluation of the Bealtaine Festival. So this looks like a much bigger evaluation of the whole festival. What year are we in? 2008.
Wow.
So it describes all about the Bealtaine Festival.
So Bealtaine is last 30 years?
Yeah, this is 30, and when it started, it was the first festival for arts and older people in the whole world. So they're very proud of that. So this gives you like a story about the origins and how it was run, and then looking back over the years. So that's quite a big publication, all about the Bealtaine Festival. So that one, this one seems to be a poetry collection with an older women's network, so all these poems, but again there's probably a little introduction somewhere that tells you. And yeah, it's with Age and Opportunity again.
Wow, they do a lot of things.
From 2000. So they've done all of this. Yeah, so there's a bit of an explanation there of how this came together. The Balcony Project. So 2009 to 2011, and this is in Dublin, and it's working with residents of this Senior Citizens Housing Unit for Independent Living in Inchicore. So they worked with this group on their balconies. It sounds like they did all sorts of different projects.
Nice.
And this one, using the arts to transform the experience of residents and staff in care centres for older people. So again, this is Age and Opportunity. Probably a few years back, 2007. So again, it'll tell you a little bit of the process, the benefits, challenges, achievements. So, there's a lot there.
Yeah, so I can read a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. If you don't have to go somewhere else, you can sit
really?
and you can look, and then if there's particular things maybe you want to, you can photograph with your phone.
Oh, I can photograph.
Yeah, I won't tell anybody.
Okay, I'll just if I the English or just
Yeah.
I'll look at it a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to photograph it, if there's things that maybe you'd like to scan and take copies, I can do that for you as well.
Oh, maybe I look at the first.
But that's it. Like you can stay here as long as you want to
Oh,
stay.
really?
So if you want to
Thank
read
you.
things and take pictures and make copies, then do. So
Okay.
don't feel you have to leave at any point.
Thank you.
I'm very happy for you to use, because this is why we have all these things, is so people like you can use it.
Okay, I will.
You
try
can
my
sit
best.
here if you want, or
Okay.
you can go to the other big
Maybe
table.
I take my bags and read. I can read there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then maybe I should show you some other things if you're going to stay for a while.
Okay.
You can keep yourself there.
Okay.
So you have a glass of water there. I'll just show you. Well, I'll show you this other room as well. So this is the archive room. So we have other books, mostly again books that we've produced. So we have lots of them. And then again we have these study desks that fold. The idea why they fold is because if this is folded up, then there is enough space here for a wheelchair to turn around. Because it's quite a narrow room, so our architects said, okay, we want to build this, but we want people to be able to turn around.
Nice.
So then you can fold those.
Okay.
And then we've got this really big scanner,
Wow.
so that we can. This cost a lot of money. But so we're going to digitize, and then in here we just have like filing cabinets for stuff for the archive that we need to keep safe. But then, as I said, this is the main office where everybody works, so it's quite messy sometimes because people are busy. But I'll show you the important things, that if you want to get a little bit more water, water here, you can fill your glass.
Okay.
And then if you want to go to the bathroom, you can take the lift to the basement.
Basement?
So below, and then there's bathrooms just on your left when you come out of the lift. It's a bit dark down there.
Really? So I need to get the light?
You should be fine, but just if it's a bit dark, don't worry, that's normal.
Okay.
And if you need anything else, Stephen, who let you in, he's on the ground floor. 0, so you can find him. And then we have a coffee machine and tea and things like that. If you want anything, you can let me know.
Lovely.
But I can leave you to it, and you can just have some time to read and have a look at things.
Okay, and you can feel free to.
I'll do some work for a bit.
Easy. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's no problem.
And I'll take a look.
No. Hopefully, some of those books will be quite relevant to what you're interested
really. In. Can I just sit there?
Sorry?
I just sit